I am trying to repot my fiddle leaf fig. I last watered it around 4 weeks ago and it's still saying that it's moist even though it's right next to my south facing window. I think the soil is not well draining enough and I'm worried with the season change that it might get root rot during the winter. So I figured since it's still hot outside that I'd go ahead and repot it right now even though it's October. You'll see that the fiddle leaf fig doesn't look stressed out at all. I'm the only one who's stressing out about it, but I went to my favorite nursery today and I got some potting soil. Here I have EV Stone cactus mix and potting soil. So I'm gonna mix 2 of them together and repot the fiddle leaf fig that I have in the back. I know how to repot a plant, but I've never done anything as big as a fiddle leaf fig before, so I'm kind of worried that like just soil is gonna get everywhere. I'm just gonna put down some newspaper first. Where the heck is my trowel? It took me a while to bring the plant out of the pot because I'm scared of hurting it. This soil is holding on to way too much moisture. It doesn't look like my plant has root rot at all. So I'm just trying to loosen everything up. And I'm making a huge mess too, am I kidding? You know how a lot of people say that fiddle leaf figs are very finicky? Well, this one hasn't been, but the soil is packed so far in. Like even though I constantly aerate this, I've been aerating it like every day with my moisture meter. This is all wet. It's coming off in like huge chunks. I thought I was aerating it enough. I'm really glad I ended up doing this. Progress, kind of. So I'm still doing the same thing. I'm just gonna turn off the camera and I'll show you when I do something different. Oh my gosh. This is what I've done. Those are all the roots and obviously I was trying to be as careful as possible, but you can only be so careful. So I'm gonna do like a 60-40 mix of the potting soil with the cactus mix because I want it to hold some moisture, but obviously not as much as it has been. So that's why I'm mixing the 2. So here's the pot that it was in. And then I put it in a basket, a decorative basket. This has drainage holes in it. Luckily, I only watered it once since getting it a couple months ago. But if I had watered it any more than that, I'm pretty sure it would have gotten root rot. Okay, I'm just gonna stick this back in here. This is so much more tiring than I thought it was gonna be. The next step, I'm gonna spray everything down with this plant spray that I made. So I'm gonna clean up out here and then I'm gonna bring the plant in so I can water it over the sink. This is my Ficus Audrey. It's been on my wish list for a while now and I've seen it at my favorite nursery, but I kept saying no to it. And it doesn't look like it, but the leaves are velvety and oh my gosh, I just love this plant so much. I am going to repot this and the soil that this was in was fine, I guess. It's just, it seems like it's very compacted in because I was trying to aerate the soil and I had a little bit of trouble doing that. So I feel like it's just staying way too wet. This 6-inch terracotta is from Home Depot. It's the same size as that, so I'm repotting it in the same size pot. And the reason for that is because terracottas, they're very porous, so the water can evaporate from the sides too. I did already repot the fiddle leaf fig at this point, but I don't know how informative I was being during that because I was honestly struggling. That's like the biggest thing I've ever potted. I'm also going to repot my aloe vera plant while I'm at it because it is just sitting in the nursery pot, which is just fine, but I don't like how it sticks out and it's like extra floppy. Here we go. I decided to turn it into like a repotting with me video just because, I mean, I got these 2 potting mixes for the fiddle leaf fig to be repotted. Since I have leftover, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the same thing for the rest of them. But yeah, and the way that I keep my potting mix is I just use medical tape for like everything. So I just sealed it with some medical tape. The reason why I'm doing it indoors right now is because these plants are a lot smaller. I'm probably gonna make it a little bit less of a mess. So I'm going to start with the normal potting mix first. Now with the cactus mix, I know it's not a cactus, but the reason why I'm using this is so it has better drainage. Poured about that much of the normal potting mix in it. And now I'm going to do the rest with this one. Ideally I would be mixing this in a bowl, but the only bowl that we have is ones that we use for eating and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to mix it in this with this hand trowel. So this is the little paper bag that it came in. This comes right out. I'm just brushing off the soil. And I'm gonna dump this mix into a bag. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit at the bottom of this. Once you put a little bit of soil in, you put the plant in like that, and then you put more soil on top of it, trying to cover all the roots. Okay, so now I'm just patting it down just a little bit. So this is the final product. I am done with this. So in my last video, I made this for this plant that I was propagating, and I think it's ready to be planted. So I'm gonna go ahead and pot this too. Another thing I should mention is that you normally want to repot things only during the growing season, so like spring and summer, and now it's October, but I tend to do things on impulse, so that's why I'm repotting things now. As I said earlier, I like terracotta pots because it's porous, but for the purposes of the wire grid, since it's hanging up like that, I would need a saucer under it, and to prevent that, I'm just going to put it into a nursery pot. This is an old one that I've kept for this reason. Yeah, so I'm gonna just throw some soil in here and plant this. Because it's a really small root system, I filled it up a lot more than I did for the other one. Plop it in there for this, and I'm just gonna put it around here so it stays in. Okay, I'm gonna use my filtered water and just water it. I am just gonna leave it in the sink for a little bit so it can continue to drain before I stick it back on the wire grid. What I'm gonna do is I am gonna line the bottom, because it is in a terracotta pot and that has a drainage hole. Oh, I can show you with this one. So when I have a drainage hole and I don't need the drainage hole, what I do is I stick the nursery pot in, but before I do that, I cover the drainage hole with some parchment paper, and that'll just catch whatever soil or a little bit of water that will drain out. But when I'm watering plants like that doesn't have a saucer under, I just make sure to leave it in the sink for a lot longer so it can fully drain. Moving on to the aloe vera, because I impulsively did the other plant. You should see the look my husband just gave me. Excuse me, sir. Do you have a problem with my nursery? So for this one, I'm just going to use normal cactus mix. I'm not going to use the mix that I made earlier that included normal potting soil because I need this to drain more. I've never looked at the roots of this thing before. Again, just get off the excess. Yeah, when it's dry, it's so much easier to get the excess soil off of. And I didn't end up watering the Ficus Audrey because it's already so wet. So I just left it like that after I repotted it. Normally after repotting, I will water it right away. That's not what I'm doing for that one. And I've done that before and nothing happened to the plant. It's just normally good to water it through so you get rid of air pockets. I'm just gonna grab the cactus mix. Just put a little bit in there. Oh crap. Okay. I put some more in there. Stick this in. And put some more around it. Oh my gosh, okay. So just push it down a little bit around it. Now I'm gonna water it, and my camera's overheating. See, that's how fast cactus soil drains. I didn't even realize that freaking nozzle was in front of us. Okay. So that's all that I'm repotting today. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Bye!